I'm going to be using fundamental cotton from Hobby Lobby with a 3mm hook. Going to be crocheting in the round, which means you will not join your rounds and do a chain one or anything like that to start. You will just do continuous rounds, so you don't need to keep track of rounds. I'm going to start with a slip knot, and then I'm going to chain 24. In the second chain from the hook, so this one right here, gonna work in the back bump, so right there, put a single crochet and a single crochet all the way across in every stitch in the back bump. Okay, here's my last stitch. Sometimes the back bump is a little bit hard to go into on your very last stitch because of that slip knot. Okay. Keep crocheting in the round. If you saw my single crochet pot holder video, it's going to work the same way as that. So here's your foundation chain, and we want to continue on and make our other row on the other side of that so that we can make a pocket. So right in here is where you're gonna go. Right there. Do a single crochet, and I'm gonna work that tail in a little bit. And now you continue down the row, making a single crochet in each stitch. You don't need to work your tail in if you don't want to, because it will be hidden on the inside. Okay, here's my last stitch. We're going to keep working in the round. So just continue going around. Go into that next stitch right there. Single crochet. The whole project is worked with single crochets, except once we get the first couple of rows done, we will start doing our single crochet spike stitches, but you only need to know how to do a single crochet to finish the project. Okay, we're down at the end of that side, so keep working. Make sure you're going through the front and the back loop when you do your single crochets. Keep going around. Okay, so we have 2 rows on each side of our foundation chain. Keep going around here, because we're gonna fold it like a pocket. So it's gonna be folded like this. So you can see where the very beginning of the project is a flat single crochet. So what we're going to do, you can see the seam here that separates the front from the back. So we've got a single crochet line here, one here, and then this line is also a single crochet line, and that's where we're going to start putting our spike stitches in. So we have, if you turn it like this, which is how it will be when you get enough rows to turn, it'll sit like that. So now when you come around that second one, so when you look at it this way, it'll look like you have 4 rows because you have 2 for each side. So go ahead and come around the curve with your single crochets and come around all the way until you can fold it and you have the start of your row. So that first stitch in that row is where you will have a regular single crochet, and then the next stitch is going to be a spike stitch. And the way you work that is, instead of going into the regular 2 loops, you go down into the middle of the stitch right there. So you will insert your hook right here. And if you look at this one, you can see where it's inserted into those the little hole that's made from the stitch. It's a regular single crochet. So instead of going in here, we're going to go into there. So just like a regular single crochet, you insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through. And that is your first spike stitch. And then we're just going to alternate. So your next stitch is just a regular single crochet and then a spike stitch. So go down there and alternate with a regular single crochet, a spike single crochet, then a regular. Just keep alternating that pattern. So when you look at it, and you're trying to figure out where to insert your hook as you go, you're going to skip this place right here because that's where you have your regular single crochet. So then you go into this space and then you put a regular stitch there, spike stitch here, regular here, spike, regular, spike, and you alternate that all the way around. Regular. So here's my spike stitch. I'm going to skip this one because that's where that stitch is, and I'm going to go into this stitch right here. Then do my regular. So when you're going along, when you first started, your project was like that, but you need to turn it in so that it's like a pocket. So that's going to be the inside. So that way your spike stitches will be on the outside of your project. But when you're first starting and you've just got this little strip to work with, it's easier to just hold it like this. And then once you get a few rows in, then it'll just stay turned in like a pocket. Okay, you get to the corner, make sure you're putting it in the right stitches. Once you get a few rows done, the corners won't be difficult because they'll be really easy. You'll be coming around your corners and you can just flatten it out like a regular row, and that'll be a lot easier. Okay, so I got a spikes here. Skip that one. Go here. Okay, so once you get the first round of spike stitches done, then it becomes pretty easy to know where to insert your hook, because you will be inserting it between each spike stitch. So if you just look at it, when you come around, your spike stitches will all be inserted right there in between all of the spike stitches. We have a spike stitch here, and then a regular stitch goes on top of the previous row's spike stitch, and then you just keep going, and you do this around and around until you get the height that you want. Okay, so when I come around to this side, I want to add a tag. So I'm going to put a tag right here. Okay, I'm going to keep going around, and you just keep going around and around doing your same thing where you're alternating your single crochets and your spike single crochets all the way around, and just go to the height that you want. Okay, I have my foam bag, the height that I want. So I've got about 7 1/4 inches tall for mine. And this is the bag that I did an initial chain 24. I have another because I'm going to do two different tops. So this one I'm going to do the same height, but my initial chain was 26. So you can either chain 24 or 26 or whatever width you think that your bag, that you want your phone case to be. So once you get the height you want, you need to mark in the back. So just pick which one is the front and the back. Since I have a tag, this is going to be my back. You want to put your stitch markers in the middle of your back. So what I did, you can measure or you can count your stitches. Got 7 stitches on each side, not counting the stitch that my stitch marker is. I have 7 stitches on each side of that. So I am going to I'm not going to use the stitch that my stitch markers are in, but I'm going to use the stitches in the middle, and I'm going to keep crocheting till I get around to there, and then I'm going to show you what to do for this way to put a top for just like a little crocheted latch. Okay, I'm at my stitch marker. When you get over to your stitch marker, put your stitch in there, but leave the stitch marker in. Or you can just take the stitch marker out and put it back in again. And then keep going till you get over to your other stitch marker. Last stitch, but don't do anything with the stitch marker. And then we're not going to do any more spike stitches at this point. We're only going to do regular single crochets. So chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to put a single crochet in every stitch all the way over to the stitch marker, but not in the one where the stitch marker is. So make sure you go into that first stitch, which is the last stitch that you did. Okay, you should have 8 stitches if you did the chain 24 start. And then at this point you should not need your stitch markers anymore now that your size is established. So chain 1, turn your work. We're going to do the same thing again. Do a single crochet and all 8 stitches across. And we are going to repeat this pattern until the size of our little buckle strap can go over the top and snap in the front. And you can you can make it any length you want. So the idea here is that this is going to go, the rows are going to go back and forth until it gets long enough that it will come over. And then we're going to put this snap in. You can also make a buttonhole, but I'm going to put a snap on this one. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Mine is 2.5 inches long if you're measuring from the edge. I am going to call that good. Okay, cut that off. And then I will hand sew my pieces on. This is the multi-pack that I got on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description box. I just got it because it had several different colors so that I can match whatever handle. So this is the handle that I'm going to use for this one, and it has gold hardware, so that is why I chose this. So you don't need a loop or anything added to this. Your handle can go right on the side. Just find whatever stitch is on the edge. And then I will hand sew my piece here, and then I will hand sew. I'll hand sew this piece first, and that way I know where to put this one. And on this one, this is the one that I do not have a tag on it already because I'm going to put a button that says Crocheted by Dina, so I thought it would be too repetitive to have a Crocheted by Dina tag on the bottom. So this is the one that I had my initial foundation chain of 26, so it's a little bit wider. And the way I'm going to do this, same thing as this one, where when you get the height you want, you stop, and instead of coming around and doing the little strip, stop at the stitch that's not in the corner. You don't want to go all the way through the corner because we're going to make a flap. And if you go past this little corner, then when your flap comes over, it will not clear that edge. So look at your pattern or at your project, and the last stitch before the curve is where you will stop, and then on the other side put a stitch marker in the last stitch before the curve. And then we're gonna do a chain one, turn your work. We're going to go back the other direction now. And I'm going to put a single crochet in each stitch until I get to the stitch marker. Okay, so now you will put your last stitch is going to be where the stitch marker is. And now we will chain one and turn So now we've established our row. So now we are going to do our spike stitches. We're going to put a spike stitch in. We're going to put a single crochet in the first one, and then put a spike stitch in the second one, just like we did before. So you alternate doing a regular stitch and a spike stitch. So when you look at the back, make sure that you are not skipping any and that you're doing the same thing that you did over here. And when you do that, these spike stitches right here should look like they are in the middle of the previous row. Stitch should be a regular single crochet and not a spike stitch. Okay, now chain one, turn your work, and we're going to do decrease stitches at the beginning and the end of each row. So we're going to do regular single crochets. So decrease stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. You should have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3, and do a single crochet, regular single crochets all the way down until you have 2 stitches remaining. Okay, when you get to the end where you have 2 stitches left, do the decrease stitch, and now that row should be a little bit shorter than the other row. Chain 1, turn your work. Now we're going to go back to doing spike stitches again. Put a single crochet in the first stitch, and then a spike stitch in the next stitch, and then a single crochet, and then spike, and then repeat that all the way till you get to the end. Okay, again, your last stitch should be a regular single crochet and not a spike stitch. Now we're going to chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to do decrease stitches again. We're going to do decrease stitches each time that we do the row that is just single crochets by themselves. So decrease stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Do single crochet all the way till you get to the end where you have 2 stitches left. Okay, I'm at the end. My last 2 stitches is going to be a decrease stitch, and then I will chain 1, turn my work. We're going to go back to doing spike stitches. So the first stitch will be a regular single crochet, and then you'll put a spike stitch right here, regular spike, regular spike, do that all the way till you get to the end. And when you get to the end, your last stitch should be a regular single crochet. Chain one, turn your work. We're going to go back to doing the regular single crochet row with double crochets. It's going to be, with a decrease. There's going to be a decrease in the first two, decrease in the last two. Okay, I did my decrease in the last two, chain one, turn your work, single crochet in the first. We're just going to repeat the same pattern with your spike stitches. Okay, I'm at the end of the row, chain one, turn my work, do row of single crochets with decreased stitches in the beginning and the end. We are just going to follow this pattern all the way until it gets narrow enough to put a button. When you get to the row where you have just finished your row that has the decreased stitches in it, you will have 11 stitches across here. So when you get to that one, what we're going to do is make a hole for our button, and your button may be different. My button, I'm going to have my opening be 3 stitches across. You don't want it to be as many stitches as your total width, because it will stretch. So you want it to be big enough that you can push your button into, but not big enough that you can that it stretches out, so that it won't stay locked. So I chain one, turn, do the first 4 stitches like you normally do. So single crochet, spike, single crochet and spike, and then we're going to skip 3 stitches, and then I will chain 3 for the ones that I'm skipping. So skip, 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 and then you can see that is a spike stitch, so put a spike stitch there, single, and then a spike stitch and a regular stitch. Okay, that will create an opening, and yarn always stretches, especially after you come back in and put stitches in here. Now chain one, we're going to do turn our work and do our decreased stitches. So decrease the first 2, then put your 2 single crochets, and now we have our chain stitches. So we're going to do, we have 3 that chain, so we're just going to go inside the opening and do 3 single crochets, and then start back with the last 4 stitches. So do 2 single crochets and then do a decreased stitch. So that is the opening for the button. And when you first put the button in, you should have to push a little bit to get it to go through. And then as you use it, and when it's being pushed in a lot, opening and close it, it will stretch out enough, and then hopefully it won't stretch out too much, but you won't have to really push on it hard anymore to get it to go through. So now we go back to the row that has our spike stitches in it, chain 1, turn your work, start with a single, and then when you get here, you're not going to be able to do a spike stitch because you don't have the one below to go into. So do a regular and then regular crochet here so it stays on track, and spike stitch and regular stitch. Okay, I got my tail weaved in. And then I will just sew my button on right here, and it will go right through. So this is the one with the button.